Well, good morning, everybody. It's Chris here from the Whistle Stop Cafe in Mirror, Alberta. As most of you know, I don't generally do too much stuff in the mornings. The mornings are kind of my time to deal with my business and some other things. But today is a completely different story. I received some news last night that created a sense of urgency, at least with me. And because of that, I felt that it was important to urgently get you folks this information, especially those of you that care about Alberta and have a vested interest in it for the future of you and your family. So I invited my good friend Mitch Sylvestre, who is the proponent of a petition to compel the government to put a referendum on Alberta independence to the people in October. The news I received last night relates directly to this endeavor, and who better to talk about it than Mitch? So I'm not going to do any more of an intro. I'm going to bring Mitch on right away, and we're going to get right into it in the interest of time. There's many more things to do this morning, one of which is cook a whole pile of pierogies so that we can feed them to you in Stettler tonight, where we're going to have a discussion on Alberta independence at 6:30 p.m. So good morning, Mitch. Thank you for joining me on such short notice. I understand you have some news and some things that people need to hear.
Well, good morning, Chris. Yeah, we're facing an injunction brought about, not an injunction, well, a possible injunction brought about by Sturgeon Lake Band up here in the north, where I'm actually at now. What our concern is that if that injunction actually becomes reality on April 7th, the injunction is going to cut us all off from being able to collect signatures so that we can actually hold a vote on a referendum for independence. So my goal is to make sure that we have all the signatures and more that are required before April 7th, before the court date. So we want to be sure that we have the signatures to make sure that this goes forward. I don't think we should take it for granted that we're going to win this, in spite of the fact that I have assurances from some of our people that we should. But our history, and especially with everything that's going on in Canada right now with government and the judiciary and all the things that are actually happening, I have very little faith that we will actually win that. So as a consequence to that, I'm basically begging everybody to get to work, get all of your signatures that you can get the ones that you know that we have. Do not procrastinate any longer. Get everybody that you know signed up to our petition so that we can move forward and have a vote on independence in October.
So let me get this straight. Albertans are participating in a democratic process in order to compel the government to ask a question that we want asked of us. And there's a group of people seeking to undermine that using the judiciary. Is that, in a nutshell, kind of what's happening?
That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. And it's, apparently they believe it's to their own best interest. But I mean, we're not understanding how, this is a very basic foundational part of the democracy, having the ability to petition government for change. If you cannot petition the government for change, how can you possibly have change, or how can you start a discussion towards change? So this is what we're doing. We're following a legal process. I mean, it's in the Constitution of Canada that we can actually do this, so we're doing it. But we're being challenged. The legality of it is being challenged by Sturgeon Lake First Nations. And we believe that we should actually be aware of the fact that, based on the way judgments have been going with First Nations involved, that we should not take it for granted that they are not going to be successful.
I'm of the opinion, and I actually wrote a blog article about this, Mitch. If you ever have a chance, it's at whistlestoptruckstop.ca/blog. It's called "Why First Nations Stand to Benefit Most from an Independent Alberta," and I outlined the reasons why First Nations people will have an opportunity to change things so much for the better. So it is actually very, it's really depressing to see that one of the groups is trying to stop this process without really even having a discussion. And actually, before I say that, I should ask Mitch, has anybody in those groups that are trying to shut you down ever had a discussion with you about this?
No, actually, they haven't. None of these groups. I've had several discussions with First Nations, and every time we've had a discussion with First Nations, they leave the room actually very happy. One of the comments I got was, "I like the way you think," and the other one was the other particular case I had actually close to home, is that they actually gave me the opportunity to speak to the group. I walked into the circle. They're having a protest circle there, and I walked into the circle and I asked to speak to the chief. And she walked up and I said, would you have a private discussion with me? And she said she would. So we went into the hall. We had a private room and we had a half-hour discussion. And she actually said, would you write that down? I said, well, absolutely. I don't have any problem writing it down, but I have no power to do anything about it right now. But this is our plan. Our plan is to make Aboriginal people better off, to make all Albertans better off, and not especially, but including Aboriginal peoples. And, they're a big major player in everything that happens here. Their treaty rights are not in danger in any way, shape, or form. We totally understand that, we've been living with them for my whole entire life. They have hunting, fishing, trapping, mobility rights. They're on independent nations. That could stay the same. That would be the simplest thing. They could stay the same and continue to collect their money from the federal government and nothing could change. But when we proposed that to both groups of people that I spoke to, they both agreed that would actually suck. That's quote. So what I think is they're amenable to hearing something else. But let's address the elephant in the room here. Chief and council don't necessarily represent the people. There's a lot of corruption on Aboriginal reserves, and we're dealing with that right now at Frog Lake First Nations, which is right beside Bonneville. And there's certain things that are common knowledge, but people don't want to talk about. So the fact that you cannot audit bans, is necessarily not a good thing, but it's a bad thing for the regular people. And the regular people that are on these reserves don't get a very big share of the $80 billion that the federal government allocates to Aboriginal peoples. So as a consequence to that, I think we can improve their lot. And, we have a perfect example at Cold Lake First Nations where ESO gives them a whole bunch of high-paying jobs if they qualify for them and they go to school to do it. And it's been a literal game changer there. You can see the absolute difference between, the kids and the parents, in that the kids are absolutely integrated into society, owning property, doing things, absolutely totally independent, capable, and doing things on their own.
Yeah, and that was my experience. I spent a lot of time working up in Wabasca and other areas that were, that had reserves close to them. Wabasca isn't a reserve; it's a municipality, and they do fantastic. The Big Stone Reserve near there, not so much. But I've witnessed that. I've witnessed the effects of the hand up, and it's absolutely it does change the world for sure. So, Mitch, I did a podcast a couple days ago, and I talked about a few stats. Here's some of the stats that I uncovered about the status quo for First Nations people in Alberta, and actually just in Canada. 3 times higher rate of suicide, 5 to 6 times higher rate of youth suicide, 55% higher chance of violent victimization in the home, 10.8 per 100,000 homicides as opposed to 1.3 non-Indigenous. And the one that really got me was in some places in this country, First Nations man living on a reserve lives an average of 19 years less than a man living off reserve. And these statistics, the status quo for this group of people is absolutely horrendous. And I cannot believe that in a country like Canada that these things haven't been addressed and these problems fixed. Now, I don't think we're not going to change the court's mind at this point. I mean, we can do our best. I believe you made this decision thinking that, or knowing that this is the best path forward. We still have 30 days, or just about 30 days or so.
Yeah.
So what do we do now?
What do we do now is we absolutely go out there and get our signatures. Now, we're in a position here with Stay Free that we're implementing a large door knocking campaigns. We have 6,400 canvasser badges out there. Our biggest job is to put everybody to work, and we're doing that. We're going to be we're everywhere. We're all over in your province. You can go to sign up places. But the other thing that we're doing is we're going to go get our intent to sign vote. That we have people that are already committed to that. So we're going to come to your house and we're going to get it and get other people at your house that while we're there. We can sign up more than the people that are on the intent to sign. And the other thing we're doing is we're available to. We're going to go door knocking. We're going to try and door knock. Just sorry about that. We're going to try and door knock every door in Alberta between now and then, and I believe we'll be able to. I believe we have the opportunity to do that, and we're organized enough to do it. And we're starting, as a matter of fact, tomorrow.
So we just roll up our sleeves and get to work, and we do what we've been doing this whole time.
It doesn't matter what it is. You got to do the work. And right now, I'm going to strongly urge you to do the work, and I'm going to explain to you how we were not going to get another chance at this. We have an opportunity to change our lives forever and our kids' lives forever. I don't think we should squander it. It's not going to be without effort, for sure. The other side has way too much to lose to allow it to go easily, and we have way too much to gain to not do the work. And I think that basically sums it up.
Yeah, and some of the earlier conversations we had before this all was a thing, we knew this was going to happen. We knew there was going to be all sorts of roadblocks put up. The system and the structure was going to do everything it can to protect itself. So this was expected. It's a roadblock. It's not the end of the world. And I really don't think it needs to affect what we do as much as encourage us just to do a little bit more. Everybody do a little bit more, put in a little more time, get the signatures. This injunction, folks, is not to stop the process. It's specifically to stop the signature collection. So we just have to get that done before that's before that's a thing, and then we move on and we move forward and we do that together. I think that's pretty much it, Mitch. That's 15 minutes. Is about perfect. I know you got other things to do.
No,
do you have
thank
any
you very
other
much.
comments or concerns or anything?
It. Yeah, actually, it's the first time I'm on your show, and thank you for that. Appreciate it. Take care.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Mitch. Well, there you go. Little speed bump. Not the end of the world, but it does put a little bit more pressure on you and on me. Do a little bit more. Talk to a few more people. I'm going to continue doing what I've been doing, which is we are holding events talking to Albertans about these issues, specifically asking people who have reservations about asking about independence, or people who are opposed, specifically asking them to come join us and have these conversations so we can talk it out and get to a place where we can agree to at least ask a question. That's the important part here. There's a small army of canvassers right now collecting signatures to compel the government to trigger this referendum. If you're a canvasser, I would encourage you, do as much as you can to double your efforts. Get in front of more people, talk to more people. That's all we have to do. The idea of Alberta independence it's an easy sell. The math looks fantastic. The opportunity is there. The prospect of a future where we're not hemorrhaging $30 billion a year to Ottawa. I saw someone in the comments earlier said something like, "Oh, the provincial government can't even run the province. How are they going to run the country?" This is the ignorance we're trying to deal with. We're not asking the provincial government to run a country. We're asking to set up a new form of government, a new constitution that we decide that gives us the opportunity to make sure governments in the future do things right. And, if you're one of those people that is not on board with this because of the provincial government having a $9.1 billion deficit, we send $30 billion east and we have a $9 billion deficit. What does that tell you about the structure that we find ourselves in? Is that fair? Should we have to run a $9 billion deficit? And granted, we could shave that and trim that down. I get it. Half of it is public servant wages, by the way. $9 billion deficit, and we're hemorrhaging $30 billion east. It's time to fix it. So let's get to work. Let's do our thing. Let's be Albertan. Let's roll with the punches and go a little quicker over those speed bumps, because my theory was, in the oil patch at least, the faster you go over the bumps, the less you feel them, and the quicker you get to your destination. So let's get to that destination, which is a free, independent, and prosperous Alberta. We'll see you later on this evening. We are going to be in Stettler, Alberta, doing a free pierogi and sausage and fried onions and bacon supper. And the idea is to have a more relaxed setting, more intimate conversations with people who are concerned about the future of Alberta. And we have a few fantastic speakers and me as well. I'll be there. So, let's get together, have a meal, and get you out of there in time for your hockey game next door at 8 p.m. So it is at the Stettler Community Center. Doors open at, oh my goodness, I think supper starts at 5, doors open at 5:30 or something like that. The poster is on my Facebook page, both under Christopher Scott and the Whistle Stop Cafe. You can also find details on at www.letstalkalberta.com. Have a great day, everybody. See you tonight. Should I do the Stumpy outro? What do you think? You guys like that? All right, here it comes. Meow. Alberta independence is necessary and inevitable. See you there.